Hi, welcome back. So this is part 2 of first steps to coping with COVID. So we've been talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and whereabouts, hopefully you now see whereabouts in this pyramid that you're missing. What have you lost? Where have you had your emotional response? So these emotional responses are either going to be fighting because you're angry because this has stopped or this has changed, or you're going to be anxious and fearful of something, and therefore the change is what the change means, fearful of what the change means or what could it mean. Okay, so fight or flight response is adrenaline. So I have taught I talk a lot, but I have talked in my videos about the fight or flight response. There are a number of videos in my back catalogue about anxiety and depression and people who are suffering with anger issues. It's all about adrenaline. There's anxiety ones, there's depression ones, there's breathing techniques to help you with these. So please, please, please go back and have a look at it properly rather than me have to go back over everything today. But we are talking about you are worried about your health or the health of people that you love, therefore you are building adrenaline. You might be angry because you have lost connection to people. You may not fear the virus, but you may fear losing people and the intimacies. You might be having more arguments, adrenaline, because you are at home with people that you're not normally at home with. You might be struggling because the people you are with are abusive and therefore you have more anxiety than usual. You may have lost your self-esteem. You may be worried about who you are as a person. Again, it's adrenaline. You may be angry because you've lost your personal freedoms. Again, adrenaline. So wherever on this you have lost, I am scared about COVID. I am afraid I might lose my mum or my dad or my brother who is sick or my friend. I am angry because I've had my life taken away from me. 1 minute I'm having fun and enjoy my life, and suddenly this has happened. If you don't believe that it's a deadly killer and suddenly your life has been taken away from you, well, that can make you really angry. Can make you so every emotional response you have to these things are based in this adrenaline. You have anger thoughts, you have frightened thoughts, anxious thoughts. All of it is building adrenaline. Now, I don't have a TV, but I am aware of how much is going on mainstream media. I'm aware of how much is in the newspapers. I mean, I see it online, so I am aware of how much you're being told to be afraid. So if you're told to be afraid all the time, you are building this adrenaline over and over and over again. You are adrenalized. Now, you may be suffering with anger. There is a lot of anger around. So I am aware of how angry people are. People, you might post something on Facebook or Instagram or something, and it's rah, 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 rah at you. You're either a coward or you're selfish or you're insensitive. But you are going to upset somebody because people are angry, so angry at the moment because they have this. They are either angry because they've lost their freedoms and their life, or they're scared about the situation that they've been put in. So either way, adrenaline. So adrenaline builds and builds and builds, and what happens with your body is it makes a chemical response and you speed up and your heart's pumping more. This is why people aren't sleeping, because they're adrenalized all the time and they're fearful and angry, and you can't sleep if you're angry. And if you're scared, things are whirring around your head. Therefore, you end up continuously scared, so you can't sleep. And when you're not continuously scared and you are asleep, you might be having vivid, scary dreams in order for your body to make more adrenaline. Because remember, adrenaline is addictive. I may have mentioned that before. I'm slightly obsessed with adrenaline, but adrenaline is addictive. And you are a threat detector. You are there to keep you safe. Your body looks for threats and looks for dangers. And this COVID situation is perfect for that, because you can build adrenaline really easily. So if you're usually an anxious person, you're going to build more anxiety. You're going to build more adrenaline. And if you are normally a more stressed person and a more angry person, you are going to build more adrenaline. So everybody is building more adrenaline, and they either have fight or they have flight, until your body can't make any more adrenaline. So we have something called adrenal failure. So it's not terrible. I mean, it's not like kidney failure, it's adrenal failure. So it's when your adrenal glands cannot make any more sugar, or cannot make any more adrenaline. So adrenaline makes your heart pump faster, makes you breathe quicker, makes your liver make more sugar and more fats, in order for you to have more energy. So suddenly your heart's not pumping as fast, you're not breathing as fast, your lungs aren't working as quickly, you're not building as much sugar, you're not building enough fats, so therefore you have less energy. So suddenly you're like, oh, I can't be bothered to do anything. Oh, I just want to sit down. You may be feasting on more sugar in order for you to get some energy, because you are suffering with adrenal failure and therefore depression. Now, when things that are in other videos, just briefly mention, serotonin is the happy hormone. So this is a positive hormone that you make, and it makes you feel happy. So you ingest the precursor to serotonin, which is called tryptophan. You ingest it into high protein foods, red meats, fish, eggs, nuts. You're getting tryptophan. You ingest it, you put it in the stomach, changes it, turns it into serotonin. Serotonin is the happy hormone, and it's the only chemical that crosses the blood-brain barrier. So it's made in the stomach and goes to the brain to make you feel happier. Now, if your stomach is shutting down because you have adrenaline, when you adrenalize, you know that lump in your stomach you feel? That lump in your stomach when you're stressed or anxious or angry, that lump in your stomach, that is your stomach shutting down. Now, if your stomach is shutting down, you can't make serotonin. And if you can't make serotonin, you haven't got any happy hormone. So one, you've lost your energy. One, you've lost your heart pumping fast and being on alert all the time. And you have no happy hormone. You are going to be depressed, all right? So this is the cycle people are getting into. Hands up, I did it myself. Because you're in a mind swindle, you can't see it until you're in it. You can't see it until you take a step out of it, actually. So I had to sink a bit before I could build, but I've been spending my time looking at this pyramid and finding ways to help myself first and you to see that this hormone, adrenaline, is the thing that is causing your inability to cope with COVID. Here we are. Exactly the same thing as I have been talking about all the way through all my videos. Anxiety, anger, stress equals depression, because the adrenaline that your body is making, because you are feeling stressed, you are having stress thoughts, you have worrisome thoughts, you have angry thoughts, and therefore your body makes adrenaline. And when you make adrenaline, all these things we've just talked about doesn't work properly, and then you have that slump, and now you're depressed. So because this is broken, somewhere in here is not working as well. Your pyramid, you are struggling here. It's physiological, your safety, your connection, your esteem. Because of all of these basic needs are not working, you cannot have your self-actualization. You cannot be the best person you can be. So your coping mechanism falls. Then you start having thoughts, and those thoughts build the chemical and stops other chemicals like serotonin being made. So you can see how this is becoming a bit of a loop, and people go round the loop lower and lower and lower and lower, and some sit in a hole. Okay, so I've dragged myself out the hole so I can help myself and help you to cope with COVID better. So how did I do that? Well, I'm going to show you now. Hopefully you can see this loop. So I'm going to just let you have a look at it and see how that goes, and then we're going to come back. So I want you to stop, press pause, and just have a look and have a little think about this. Have a little pause, and then we'll be back in a second, and we can start working on how to fix this.